Hello, and today I'm going to talk to you about your first pointe shoe fitting. First and foremost, it's very important that you have permission from your dance teacher to go on pointe. Never go for a fitting when you haven't got the permission, because going on pointe before you are ready is actually very dangerous. I have wrote a list about what to expect, and first of all I'm going to tell you about how you should prepare for your first fitting. You want to make sure that your toenails are cut short, so not too long but not too short either, because you don't want your toes to be sore. Ideally cut your toenails a few days before going to your fitting, or even a week before can be best really. Also ensure that if you have any blisters that they've healed and they're not like fresh, because that will affect your fitting and be more painful. If you have any verrucas or anything like that, make sure they're covered up. Ideally you want to be wearing ballet tights or ballet socks. Do not go in thicker tights or thicker socks, because it will affect the way the shoe is going to fit. So you want to be wearing what you wear in class. Now some girls have fittings in bare feet. Now if they dance normally in bare feet and are more comfortable like that, then fair enough. But your dance teacher or school may suggest that you're meant to be wearing tights or socks anyway. I would recommend convertible ballet tights because they give easy access to the toes and they're easier to tape your toes and put your padding on for when you wear your pointe shoes. You also want to make sure that you go to a reputable fitter, preferably someone who has been recommended to you, because some fitters or some shops will have people that have done, say, a pointe shoe fitting course, but they don't really have much experience. So ensure you're going somewhere where you know they know what they're doing and you're going to get a good fit. Please bear in mind that you will need around 1 hour, maybe longer, for your first fitting, because you need to try on loads of different shoes, different sizes, widths, shank strengths. There's a big variety out there, so you want to make sure you try everything on that you can before selecting your shoe. Now going for your first fitting is very exciting, but please be aware that you will need to try on a lot of shoes, and also be prepared to spend like a good half day or even a full day going to a variety of shops, because you want to make sure you try on all the different brands, all the different styles you can possibly get before selecting the shoe that's right for you. Now it's very important to remember that your first pair of shoes won't necessarily be the shoes for you, because some dancers find it takes a while, even a few years, to find the shoe that works best for them. And also your feet change over time, so not just change size, but you could get stronger feet as you go through your career or if it's a hobby. And also you might find that you end up with bunions later down the line, or you might need different shoes for different kind of performances or exams and stuff like that. You also want to think about, when you're trying on the shoes, is the vamp length. The vamp length is this front bit of the shoe here. If you have too long a vamp, then you won't find it easy to roll through your shoe. It will feel very uncomfortable and you might not be able to get on your box correctly. So make sure you choose the right vamp length for your foot. You also want to make sure that you get the right shank strength. Now, some teachers insist that their beginner pointe dancers get a shank that is not strong but a standard shank, because they feel they need the support, but other teachers recommend getting a softer shank because it enables a dancer to work her foot more and also get onto the box more. And getting onto the box basically means this is like the platform, that's the box. So you basically want to make sure that you're on the platform, not tilting off it like that. And then some beginner dancers or people with weaker feet tend to sickle, which can be that way or that way, which is a no-no. Another important factor is when you go for your fitting, the person who fits you will ask what you're going to be wearing in your shoes. Now most people start with an ouch pouch, but it's entirely up to you. There's a variety of padding available, but the padding will affect the fit of the shoe. So ensure that you know what kind of padding you're going to wear and you stick with that padding for the whole fitting, because of course if that's the padding you're going to wear, you're going to want to make sure that the shoe is going to support you correctly with that padding. and every brand and style fits differently. For example, you could be a 3 in one shoe, and then you could be a whole size up or down in another shoe. It just entirely depends on the shoe and the style. Also, don't feel pressured into buying something straight away. If they have to order something in that would probably work best for you, then wait. Don't rush into it, because you don't want to buy a pair of shoes and they're quite expensive and end up with a pair of shoes that don't work for you, and then you've wasted money. Another important factor is if you're young and you're still growing, remember you can't grow into pointe shoes. They need to be fitted to the foot and supportive at the time of the fitting. There's no point buying a shoe and thinking, oh, I'll grow into it, or because you want your money to go further. There's no doubt about it, you cannot do that. You will just have to go and buy new shoes every time you grow, basically, which is annoying, but think of it in the long term. You're not going to get injuries, and also your foot is going to be more supported when you dance. When you buy your first pair of pointe shoes, it will be incredibly daunting with just how many types of shoes there are out there. So do try and do some research as well. And all shoes will come without the ribbons and elastics. This is a dead shoe, so take no notice, but it will look roughly like this. There will be no ribbons or elastics sewn on. You will have to do that yourself because it's a personal preference. And I will do another video to show you about different types of ribbon and elastic and methods to sew them, because there's a variety of methods. You just need to find what works best for you. When you go for a fitting, you will be asked to show your feet to the fitter. She will then decide, or he will decide, what shoes will work best for you. They will ask what toe pads you'll wear. You will put the toe pads on, and then they will slide the shoes onto your feet and see what works. Then if a pair looks quite good, they will ask you to stand in second position, and you will be asked a demi-plie. When you do demi-plie, you want to make sure that you can feel your big toes touching the end of the box. And you don't want to feel that your toes are crunching or going over each other. You want to make sure that your toes are flat in the box. It's very important. Then they might ask you to go over to the bar, if there's a bar in the shop, and you'll be asked to place foot by foot onto pointe in parallel position. So you'll be facing, both feet parallel. And you do 1 foot at a time. The reason why is because there's no ribbons and elastics on the shoes, and your foot will just basically pop out the shoe. So you'll do 1 foot at a time onto pointe, and there should be a mirror so you can see how they look, and they will judge whether they're a good fit. They'll ask you questions like, are you sinking in the shoe? Which means, as I explained before, you will feel your foot just go down to the box and it'll be very uncomfortable on your toes. They'll ask you a lot of questions, and it's quite daunting at first, but once you start to focus, you will soon realise what feels comfortable and what feels bad. Another important thing to remember is shoes are not broken in the shop. When you try them on, they will be very rigid, they will be very hard. The box will be hard, so it'll feel quite uncomfortable at first, but what you need to remember is they can't break them in the shop, because obviously everyone's foot is different. So you will go home and you will break the shoe in yourself. However, please make sure when you buy your shoes that you get them checked by your teacher first before you sew the ribbons and elastics, and make sure you try them on a clean surface so they don't get dirty. This way, if the shoe is not right for you and your teacher feels you need something different, you can go back to the store and you can exchange them for something else. Although I don't want to mention brands in this video, I thought it was worth mentioning to you that Grishko shoes in the UK have a special roll through in the demi-pointe area of the shoe, which is around this bit. So when you do a demi-pointe in your shoe, it'll basically feel easier to achieve and easier to roll through the shoe. Now, this is good because in some shoes, especially when you're a beginner, you will feel it's quite difficult to achieve a good demi-pointe. It takes a while to break in, whereas Grishko's for the UK will have the easy roll through. I think I've covered everything, but if you have any questions, please leave me a comment below or feel free to message me directly. If you want me to come along to your fitting and help, then I can do that too, though you'll need to be local to me. I'm in Essex, London, so if you're in my kind of area, I can help you out. And thanks for watching, and please subscribe.